She was blind. He was her only protector. But no one saw the monster coming, not even him. A foster home, a frozen corpse, and a ritual that demanded blood. This isn't just horror, it's heartbreak soaked in evil. This is the disturbing story of Andy, his blind stepsister Piper, and the foster mother who would do anything to bring her dead daughter back to life, including summoning a demon. The movie begins with a woman filming a movie on a camcorder, showing a woman looking up, but what is happening around her? Is someone being killed? Has someone been killed already? Andy and his stepsister Piper had a strong bond between them, even though they weren't related by blood. Piper was partially blind and could only see shapes and lights. Andy was very protective of her. She wants to be friends with other girls, but the girls enjoy making fun of her disability. And Andy does not tell her about their bad behavior because he knows it will hurt her emotionally. One day, Piper came out running. Something had happened to their dad. He was in the bathroom and was not responding to Piper's call. Andy opens the door and finds their dad lying on the floor with blood spread near his head. It was devastating for both of them. The foster care system sent them to a former social worker, Laura's home. Andy was turning 18 in 3 months, old enough to take care of Piper, but until then, they were stuck with rules and had to go to live with someone. Initially, Laura only wanted Piper, but since neither of them wanted to leave the other, she accepted. But the question remains, why was she only interested in caring about a partially blind girl? Keep on watching to find out. When they reach their new foster home, Laura isn't interested in Andy. She greets them with enthusiasm but continues to ignore Andy. Her behavior was not normal, and she used to stuff her pets when they died. She once had a blind daughter named Cathay, who died of drowning. She felt emotional when she remembered her. Laura's pet cat went out into the backyard and Andy followed to bring it back inside. Then he saw it. It was an empty pool, probably. The same pool where Cathay had died, but there was a half-naked boy inside it, holding the cat. Laura took the cat from him. The boy turned and glanced at them. He was Oliver, and he focused on Piper. Oliver was also a foster kid. Laura told them that he had become mute after the death of his sister. But Oliver looked weird. Something was wrong, but what? Laura showed them their rooms. Piper was given Cathay's room, and Andy was given a small store-type room. Laura knew Andy was counting the days just 3 more months, and he could legally become Piper's guardian. But that was 3 months too long for what she had planned. She tried spying on him, and things started on a bad note. As Piper lay on her bed, Laura looked from behind the beads and smiled grimly. Maybe she had a plan for her future, or was she just a caring foster mother? The night as Piper sleeps in her bed, Laura looks on. She instructed Oliver to wait in his room, and he obliged. She checks the weather report, searching for a rainy day, and plays old footage on her TV. It is the footage of a satanic ritual we saw at the start. Laura started covering the leakages in the pool. It was time for the rain to fill up this pool. As Andy woke up, he found that he had wetted his pants, and he went on to take a shower. But it reminded him of all those horrifying memories of his dead father in the shower at their dad's funeral. Laura cut a few pieces of hair from the dead body, while Oliver, who was locked in his room, broke the glass of his room and went outside and started hammering on a locked door with his bleeding hands. He failed to open it. He looked hungrily at the chickens. Laura, after the funeral, to reduce their grief, encouraged them to drink until they were completely intoxicated. Then, in a twisted act of manipulation, Laura urinated into a beaker and poured it onto Andy's pants while he lay completely unconscious, unaware of the humiliation she was preparing for him. Laura cleansed Oliver and told him that she knew that he was hungry. Soon, he would be fed. But who is she talking to? Oliver or something else? Then she asked for evidence of its existence and saw a demonic presence in Oliver's reflection. Laura was up to something very evil. But why is she doing this? What does she want with this demon that we saw starting to inhabit the body of Oliver? The next morning, Laura casually pointed out the stench, feigning concern, and told Andy to clean himself up while she took Piper out for a seemingly innocent shopping trip, leaving him and Oliver at home. She was brainwashing Piper against Andy. We see Oliver looking at Andy and eating an insect as he does. Something is happening to Oliver, and Laura was definitely behind it. Trying to show kindness, Andy unlocked Oliver's door and offered him a piece of fruit. But Oliver also took the knife in before Andy could react. He bit into it, tearing into his own mouth. Horrified, Andy rushed him outside to get help, but as they crossed the white line outside, Oliver started to shout. Did all he could to go back inside the line, and then Andy saw it. Something was moving in his body, and then he spoke. But before he could continue, Laura reached there. She was concerned about why Oliver was outside, ignoring his wounds. Andy was terrified. He took Piper inside the house, but he could not understand what was happening. Could a child continue eating a knife, bleeding badly in the process? Then he notices something on the paper written by Oliver, a cry for help. Laura was watching the satanic ritual on the tape, trying to grasp how to handle the situation, but suddenly, Oliver spoke, just as he had woken up from a trance. He did not recognize Laura, and Laura increased the volume of the music to suppress his voice and started putting some spell on him. Then she made him eat the hair of Andy's dead father. The poor kid was back in her control. The white line was the barrier that kept him in her demonic possession, and the whole house was surrounded by it. After this horrific incident, Andy needed to relax, so he finally took a shower. But as he did, someone entered the bathroom. It was his father. He told him that Piper would die in the rain. Andy stood frozen, his body trembling as fear tangled with a childhood memory he couldn't escape. He slipped and hit his head before fainting. But he remembered his father's words. When he woke up, he was in the hospital, and it was raining. His sister was in danger. He tried to leave, but the medical staff there neutralized him. The rain continued, and the pool gathered water. Laura was emotional. She watched her daughter's videotapes and lied to Piper that Andy does not want to meet with her. She was going according to her plans. When Andy woke up the next day, Laura was there, and it was still raining. He told her what he glimpsed and told her to keep Piper inside, as she might be in danger. Laura told him by mistake that she had killed his father in the shower, but Andy was not able to understand, and she was able to cover up her mistake. Andy was miserable, was not allowed to leave, and his sister was with Laura. Laura promised to keep Piper inside. She spoke with calm assurance, but her eyes whispered the truth. She was lying. At her home, she took Piper out in the rain. The pool had been filled, and the rain continued to pour. Piper was playing, and Laura was happy. She was thinking about Cathay. She dressed Piper like Cathay used to dress, and then she showed her something in the freezer. She told her that. It was meat, but actually it was Cathay. It's perfectly preserved in ice. Andy, when returned from the hospital, he found Piper sleeping in her bed. Laura's plan was underway. Andy remembered how their father used to care about Piper. Oliver sat silently in the room as Laura chanted over him, eyes fixed on the flickering ritual tapes, summoning the demon back into his body, one whispered spell at a time. The videotape was brutal, as the person with the demon inside was eating the dead and then filling the other person with blood or something coming out of its mouth. It was time to separate Andy and Piper. Laura sprayed herself with Andy's perfume and hit a sleeping Piper, wounding her eye badly. Then she accused Andy of the attack. Piper did not believe her brother, and this caused Andy to react. He almost attacked Laura because he knew that she was distancing him from his sister. When Piper did not believe him, Andy left and went to the foster care center to meet Wendy, their officer who sent them to Laura's house. While waiting, he saw a picture of a missing boy named Connor Bird. It was Oliver. It was not his foster son, but she had kidnapped him to help in achieving her satanic desire. Andy told Wendy about Oliver and Laura, but she could not believe. But Andy was able to convince Wendy to go and witness it herself. Laura took Piper outside to play. When she returned home, she saw Oliver in the kitchen. He had been eating everything now. The demon had completely inhabited his body and was hungry. Oliver saw and then attacked her. He tore her hair and bit away flesh from her hand, leaving her bleeding. But she was able to save herself by locking the door. The demon inside Oliver's body was banging on the door, screaming and mimicking Laura. The demon inside Oliver was now eating anything it could find, including wood. He He was filling himself up, and he starts to eat skin and flesh from his own hands and arms. The situation was going out of control. Laura was able to cover her wound and walk out of the room. She found Oliver standing outside in the rain, put her bloodied hand on the glass, and made a round mark to attract Oliver's attention. Oliver turned his head and looked at her. They came closer to each other and looked into each other's eyes. She repeated the symbol, and then she led him to Cathay's frozen body. And then we heard Laura screaming. Andy sent a voice message on Piper's number, but Laura heard it as Piper was involved in playing a game. She now knew that they knew about Oliver and that Wendy was coming. She immediately cleared the house and made everything proper. Wendy and Andy reached the house. Wendy told Andy to stay in the car, and Wendy alone went inside the house for inspection. Everything was okay, but Andy did not wait for them. He went on searching for Oliver. While searching, he went to the locked door in the backyard where Oliver was now eating Cathay. As Wendy was about to finish the inspection, she noticed that Laura was bleeding, and then she heard Andy shouting her name. Laura knew that the matter had started to unravel, so she tried to persuade Wendy not to go there. She told her that she is trying to resurrect Cathay and that Piper must die. But Wendy was able to run away from her, and Andy showed her what was happening in the backyard room. Wendy and Andy made a run to the car after seeing this, but before they could reach there, they were hit by Laura's car. Wendy died on the stop while Laura killed a badly injured Andy as she stopped his breath. Laura returned from the sports center with Piper, masking her twisted plans behind a motherly smile. When she arrived there, Wendy's phone rang, and Laura went to Wendy's body and silenced her mobile. Wendy's face was barely recognizable, as if something had devoured it. Piper heard Andy's voice calling softly from the shadows. She followed it, heart racing only to find Oliver standing there. She reached out and touched his face. A chill gripped her. This wasn't her brother, it was something else entirely. Then Laura intercepted them. Laura told her that Andy is downstairs and had come to apologize. But as they reached downstairs, she knew that Laura had been lying to her. She ran away, closing the door behind her. It was the washroom. She realized that a body was there, touched it slightly, and knew who it was. She was in tears. Her protector was gone forever, while trying to protect her till his last breath. In this unknown world, he was her only strength. Then, Laura opened the door. She confessed to her the plan and told her that she is going to bring Cathay into Piper's body, and for that she will kill her by drowning her. Piper was horrified. She was about to die just because she believed someone else and not her brother. Piper tried to run away, but failed and fainted. Laura brought her to the pool, where a heavily fed Oliver moved towards her. Laura started drowning her. She resisted, trying desperately to breathe. But Laura was determined not to let her. After all, she, her daughter, was coming. The demon was standing close, ready to transfer the soul. But as she was about to die, Laura heard Cathay's voice calling her. She realized what she had done and felt very grieved. Piper took this opportunity to run away from the pool, but Oliver followed and attacked her. But she hit her, and he vomited all the black material out. Piper slipped and later walked up to the road, where she was saved by people in a passing car. Oliver slowly started remembering who he was and was free of the spell as he passed through the white line. But he went through a lot of pain while lying there, and was later found by the police alive. Laura's body was also found along Cathay's in the pool, and the movie comes to a close. Sometimes there are things we love that make us do things we regret later, but that is how humans are. And some people are willing to die just to care for and save others with no blood relation. If you love diving deep into the hidden layers of cinema like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more mind-bending movie breakdowns, and drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm always reading.